So are buy-to-lets still worth it? Well, if you want a quick answer and you're too busy to sit down for a few minutes, then I'm going to say it depends. However, if you're willing to sit down just for a few minutes, there's a lot more to consider when we think about buy-to-lets and whether or not the bubble of buying a property to rent out is dead or not as of today. And that's why, my friends, in today's video, we're going to look into whether buy-to-lets are still a sound investment or are they now a pointless investment and should we all be looking elsewhere? So new figures have shown that 20% of landlords have already considered selling some of their buy-to-lets, if not all of them. And alongside this, holiday homeowners are also looking to sell on their second homes at what they believe is now the top of the market, and essentially to cash in before a potential property crash. However, some reasons for why some landlords could be doing this alongside that could also be down to some of the factors I'm about to mention now. Tax, renters having more power, higher regulations coming into play like upgrading your EPC and consistent safety checks. 4, hiked interest rates, which literally seem to be moving higher and higher each day. And of course, number 5, the cost of living. You see, regardless of the first 4 points that I mentioned there, which affect a landlord's cash flow, many in the past would use those points as a reason to increase the rents on their tenants. But how feasible would that be given point 5? The cost of living. Could the renters afford that? You see, simply raising rents because it's now costing the landlord more may just leave you having a tenant either falling short or in arrears.
Give me rent. Rent.
And with Section 21 potentially coming to an end, investors are probably scared of what's around the corner. So I can definitely understand why some landlords are leaving the market. And I know this image that I've just placed here isn't an indication of all landlord costs and expenses, but it does paint a pretty grim picture about how much a landlord really makes. However, one thing I will say, as I always say on this channel, is buy-to-lets are a long-term game, my friends. If we think long enough and are able to cope through the years with the cash flow that we receive, and the stresses, the capital appreciation alone is at least a worthwhile hedge against inflation. Moving on. Another reason landlords could be selling up is because of the current climate that we're in. Cashing in at what seems likely the top, which I mentioned a few moments ago, of the market to then potentially re-enter later on when things go on discount could again be a possible tactic for those more experienced or with a higher risk tolerance. Now, one thing new buy-to-let investors need to consider after hearing all of that, you still need to look at the rates and see if you're happy with the returns that you're getting, as they're increasing too. I personally think buy-to-lets are a sound investment, and moving my money from a bank into bricks is a much better way to manage and grow it. But I'm also not stupid enough to see how much more difficult it has become and how little we actually make nowadays. And that's why other strategies I often mention on this channel, such as my new builds or commercial conversions or the BRRRs, they're just so much better in terms of their overall ROI. You see, by recycling your cash during a renovation or development, you instantly increase your ROI and limit the amount of risk and your overall exposure. And it's why I normally opt for those over just a vanilla buy-to-let. But as for the future of buy-to-lets, one thing I will say is follow the big money, because we are now seeing big organizations enter the market and literally buying everything. So friends, what do you think? Do you think buy-to-let is still worth it? Or are we now hanging on by a thread and should we be looking at alternate investments? Let me know in the comments below. And also friends, be sure to stay tuned to the property update videos, as I'll update you all as and when things come into play or change, so at least you can be ahead of the curve. And with that, my friends, I'm going to end the video there. Thanks for watching.